In the wake of the revelation that the Republican National Committee spent almost $2,000 at a bondage-themed nightclub in West Hollywood, U.S. News & World Report posts a reminder today that the congressman who's now head of the Republican Congressional Campaign Committee had a sexy time fundraiser of his own. 2007, before Pete Sessions of Texas held his leadership position in the Republican Party at the National Republican Campaign Committee. In 2007, in trying to earn a few bucks for his own campaign fund, Pete's PAC, Mr. Sessions held a fundraiser here at Ivan Kane's 40 Deuce, a burlesque club in Las Vegas that seems very nice. Mr. Sessions' PAC spent more than $5,000 there. Which means, I guess, that at least in recent years, the Republican Party has been way more libertarian in their choice of fundraising venues than they have been in their policy positions, which is sort of both comforting and funny. Speaking of, I have a correction to make. It's a slightly embarrassing correction about our earlier coverage of that club where the RNC spent about $2,000 of its donors' money. As you know, it's a club called Voyeur. It is a place where ladies wear very little clothing for money. On Monday night, when we were talking about this story, we showed you this logo, which made me a little uncomfortable to talk about. I'm sorry. It's just the way I am. Yesterday, I have to tell you, the nice people at Voyeur in San Diego contacted us to say that when we were showing that logo, what we were actually showing was the logo for their Voyeur Club in San Diego, where the ladies wear very little clothing, not the West Hollywood Voyeur Club, where the ladies wear very little clothing, which is the one that certain RNC members have been enjoying on their donors' dime. What we should have shown you was this. That was the West Hollywood logo. So there you go. A slightly different logo that is still about a story that makes me stutter and fidget, for which I'm sorry. The Republican Party outing to the West Hollywood scantily clad lady place occurred after an official RNC party fundraiser at the Beverly Hills Hotel. It was a fundraiser for a group of Republicans under the age of 45 that the party calls the Young Eagles. They are young to the extent that they are under the age of 45. The Young Eagles director is named Allison Myers. She's so far the only person at the RNC to be punished for this scandal. She was fired this week. Chairman Michael Steele, he whose desk is where the buck is supposedly going to stop. Now, Michael Steele, of course, is still gainfully employed. And so the work of the Young Eagles and their entire calendar of fundraising events is now in jeopardy. The RNC canceled all Young Eagles events until further notice. The cancellations include next month's gathering in North Carolina at something that is innocuously called the U.S. Training Center. U.S. Training Center is, in fact, part of the security contractor company formerly known as Blackwater. Blackwater now goes by the name we like to pronounce She. Blackwater. She is probably most famous for the legal battle stemming from an incident in Baghdad in which Blackwater employees gunned down 17 civilians. Iraq then ordered the company out of the country. Earlier this month, there were reports that we aired that a Republican fundraiser at the Blackwater compound had been planned. Now, at the time, Blackwater denied it. Then Blackwater said the idea was back on. And now the Republican Party, post-strip club gate, is canceling the Blackwater fundraiser once again. Which is, I'm sure, too bad. Would have been a killer party.
Let me implore you to keep the torch of freedom burning bright. Tell you that God bless the Republic. Death to the New World Order. We shall prevail.
That was a member of a group called the Ohio Valley Freedom Fighters, speaking at a rally over the weekend in Frankfort, Kentucky. About 400 people with guns gathered on the state capitol grounds on Saturday there to hear him and other speakers, many of whom were also visibly packing heat. There was a similar scene in Helena, Montana on the same day. About 200 people showed up at a rally there with their guns. These two events are part of a national campaign to, quote, galvanize the courage and resolve of Americans to petition our elected officials against establishing anti-gun legislation and to remind America that the Second Amendment is necessary to maintain our right to self-defense. That message coming from the Second Amendment March, a group organizing open carry events all around the country, describing these events as precursors to their big event, which is a march on Washington, D.C. on April 19th. The organizers say they picked that date because it's the anniversary of the first shots being fired in the Revolutionary War at the Battle of Lexington and Concord. April 19th significance has changed in recent memory because April 19th is also the anniversary of the Oklahoma City bombing, which killed 168 Americans in the Alfred P. Murrah Federal Building 15 years ago this April 19th. The terrorist behind that bombing said he picked that date to attack the federal building because it was also the date of the David Koresh Branch Davidian fire at Waco, an incident that convinced him he needed to wage violent war on the United States of America, starting with a violent attack on a federal building. Now, you may be experiencing a sense of deja vu and saying, hey, wait, haven't you been reporting on this armed march on Washington since last week? The answer is no. There's actually another march scheduled for the same day in roughly the same place. There are 2 marches on Washington on the Oklahoma City anniversary for people with guns this year. The event we've been talking about is the Restore the Constitution Open Carry Rally. One of its 3 confirmed speakers will be this guy, the ex-Alabama militiaman who tried to make himself famous over the last couple of weeks by imploring people to throw bricks through the windows of Democratic Party offices around the country. The rally he'll be speaking at is set to happen in Virginia, where organizers believe it is legal for them to carry their guns at that event. It is not legal to carry guns publicly in Washington, D.C., but Washington, D.C. is really the point of this whole anti-government enterprise. So rally-goers will be bused to this tiny little sliver of land on the Virginia side of the Potomac River. They say they are getting as close as they think they can get to the National Mall in D.C. while still packing heat. Best as we can figure, we think the armed marchers in Virginia may even be able to catch a glimpse of the other gun lovers rally that's going to be happening over here, as you can see on the map there, on the grounds of the Washington Monument. While that one is being called a march, apparently the participants on the D.C. side are going to be marching in place. They're not actually going anywhere. And theoretically, they're not supposed to have their guns with them. As we confront the fact that the anniversary of the day Timothy McVeigh killed 168 Americans has been picked by not 1 but 2 anti-government gun rallies in Washington, there is a certain disconnect between what these organizers describe as their peaceful motives and the tactics they are using to try to attract their audience. Listen, for example, to how the better organized of these 2 marches, the one that's actually in D.C., is describing its aims in their radio ad.
Think back 18 months and answer these questions. Did you ever think the government would run General Motors? Did you ever think the government would control the private banking system? Did you ever think the government debt would be measured in the trillions? All that has happened in just 1 year's time. Does it make you wonder about 2010? Do you feel uneasy about your unalienable right to keep and bear arms? The President, Congress, and administration want to further limit your gun rights. Don't let them do it.
All right, it goes on to say the government is looming before us like a tidal wave threatening to wash away all remnants of freedom upon our great land. They're saying they're not anti-government, they're just defending the Constitution from this government. You might be forgiven for thinking this event sounds a little fringy, but the rally will have as a featured speaker a sitting member of Congress, Republican Paul Brown, who represents Georgia's 10th District. Unfortunately, although they tried to get famous rock star and gun lover Ted Nugent to speak, organizers have lamented on their website that they couldn't afford to pay for Mr. Nugent. So no Ted Nugent, but a member of Congress will be there. I'll be right back. Kent Jones is our Tea Party profiteering correspondent tonight. Hi, Kent.
Hi, Rachel. The second big Tea Party National Convention is coming up, and this time around they've made a few changes.
Okay.
Take a look. The National Tea Party Unity Convention needed to shake its fancy pants, Obama elitist image. So this time, they chose a real down-home venue to take America back.
But be a lady tonight.
The Palazzo Las Vegas Resort. It's grassroots without the grass. And Jersey Boys. The convention at the Palazzo happens July 15th through 17th. Quote, the timing for this country is crucial. As we head into the fall elections, we must be united in our opposition to the Obama, Pelosi, Reid axis of fiscal evil. Work with your fellow patriots to help save our country. But first, fellow patriots, they're going to need $400 apiece. Bring your rage and your platinum card. But if you're a fired-up Tea Partier coming in from out of town, know this. Quote, registration for the convention requires confirmed 3-night hotel accommodations at the Palazzo Las Vegas Resort. Cancellation of hotel accommodations will result in the forfeiture of entire convention registration fees. Hotel cancellation policy is 72 hours prior. Hotel will require a deposit of 1 night plus taxes per suite to guarantee accommodations. Registration is non-refundable and non-transferable. Now, if that doesn't strike a blow against oppressive bureaucracy, I don't know what does.
Thank you very much, Ken. Appreciate that. That does it for us tonight.